Good evening, and we welcome our listeners in Florida and around the world. Tonight, we have the privilege of welcoming Mr. Micheal Cauger, former Palm Beach County Sheriff Office Chief Deputy. He was the second in command for 16 years, and now is looking to unseat his old boss and friend. He has an extensive community involvement experience which will serve him very, very well. Mr. Micheal, welcome to our Humboldt studio, and thank you for the privilege of talking to you tonight. How are you, sir?
Thank you so much for this opportunity to give my message to all communities.
Okay, Mr. Micheal, we're going to have some questions for you tonight, and the Haitian community is listening to you. As a promise, at the end of the questioning, we will do a resume and in English and French of what you have said. So we go. Lack of leadership has caused us to live in a dangerous world, and Palm Beach County has its share of problems. B.M. Bass, it's a leadership researcher, pardon. As a researcher, talk about transformational leadership. He said it's a must in today's USA. What would you be your leadership style in that position?
I think transformational leadership is an excellent way to lead, and I've utilized that in my career over the 50 years. I won over 5 awards for team building and teamwork. I couldn't have done that if I did not follow the principles of transformational leadership. It requires motivating your employers, developing a vision of what you want to accomplish, and then encouraging those that you work with. And I don't say always my subordinates, they're my co-workers. Right. I may be the boss, but we work these things together. And I was always there with them and helped them, motivate them, and then reward them. Mobilize people to do the vision that you've developed. But the vision sometimes is not just mine. It's the people that you work with, and they help develop those visions. Listening, I think, is a tremendous part, not only of the people that you work with, but for the communities that you serve. And that has served me so well over the years. And by doing those kind of things, you boost the morale of those that you work with. And you have positive morale. They actually enjoy coming to work. And sometimes, if you don't follow those principles, you see the morale crumble. When you have leadership that does not listen, not just to the people they work with, but to the communities. When I started police work in 1970, 1971, the police went to communities and told them what they needed. It wasn't until the late 80s into the 90s that they developed the community policing philosophy, where they said, no, this is the wrong thing to do. You need to go into the community and listen to the people and see what their concerns are. And they were so much different when we started to do that. And then you get with those people in the people in the community and empower them, train them how to work together to make their communities safer.
So what you're telling me that this paradigm shift make a big difference?
Absolutely. It makes a huge difference. You get people working together, not just on the police force, but in the community as well. Now that's real leadership. When you can get people in the community to come forward in those neighborhoods that are struggling and develop, empower them, teach them how they can make their community better. Because sometimes they don't know, because they come from other cultures,
different countries, yes,
that have a whole different aspect. I had one lady in a housing development. She used to come out of her apartment, go to a wall and throw her trash over the wall. The dumpster was a little ways off in the parking lot. That's how she behaved. That was what she knew from where she came. So we got with her and we trained her, no, this is what you do. And it changed, but it's working with people in the community that made such a difference.
I can hear in your response an extensive community involvement experience.
Yes.
Based on that, and also the promise that you said to bring fresh ideas and a more comprehensive approach to law enforcement, how would you promote inclusion and diversity in the sheriff office, which will help bring the services that you talk about without discrimination to the community at large?
Okay. I've done that over the years. I was the one that brought in crisis intervention training. That was a 40-hour block of training that taught officers how to deal with emotional issues in the community, how to do with mental health issues, how to do with illnesses like autism, and how to respond to people. 40-hour block of training, that made a huge difference. Because it was 40 hours, we couldn't train everybody right away. So I brought in mental health first aid. And then I brought in classes that taught cultures of different organizations. It's like, how do you react when you go to a Muslim home? How do you react when you go to a Haitian home? Why are maybe Haitians a little afraid of the police? Because of where they came from.
That's right.
And how they were treated by the police. So you have to get through that and ensure them that you were there as a friend to help. And I think by what we did and how we handled that and the culture, trained in the cultural differences, it really made an impact in that community. And we made a lot of friends in those communities.
Do you have a plan, a diversity training plan for the police, for the sheriff department, if they already have one, or are you going to just like...
well, they have one. I don't know how well it's pushed.
Okay.
But we will certainly push that more. I think that we're a melting pot in this community. We have Haitian community, we have African American communities, we have Caribbeans that come here from different areas.
Yes.
And they're all different a little bit. We have all the Central Americans now coming here.
That's right.
And kind of what we discovered too is that the cultures and behaviors that they conducted themselves in their previous homes and countries was not accepted here.
Yes.
Like the Central Americans, very common for a 14, 15-year-old girl to be involved with a 20, 25-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they get married at 14 and 15
Yeah.
in many of those areas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that doesn't happen here.
Mm-hmm.
And we were arresting people. And so I had representatives from, the Central American community, deputies who were bilingual, and we held classes and let them know that these are what is accepted and what is not accepted. Same way with the Haitian community. Corporal punishment got many Haitians in trouble here because what they were allowed to do in Haiti and what was accepted was not accepted here.
Yeah.
And so we had to train folks and give them that information and let them know that, corporal punishment to a degree is okay, but you have to be a little more gentle than you were.
Yeah, that's true. We just found out not too long ago that the Palm Beach County Sheriff Office is equipping its deputies with body cameras. We're always on. What is your thought on that move?
Well, I like body cameras. I would have wore a body camera 50 years ago when I started. I think it's a wonderful tool to a degree. But even multiple organizations have taken a look at this and made recommendations. So we have to be a little careful. We don't want to infringe on people's privacy, even including the deputy's privacy. Some would want you to leave the body camera all the time, but if I go into the restroom, I don't want my body camera on. If there's other people in there, you don't want a body cam when you walk into an emergency room where somebody's being treated and may be in a state of undress. You don't want to wear it into a locker room where other people are getting dressed. You don't want to wear it in a clothing store and open up a door and there's people in the dressing room. So you have to be a little careful. The other thing is when you're wearing that body camera and go into that community and you're investigating an incident, and you go up to people and try to get them to talk to you, they see that body camera, they're not going to talk to you.
That's right.
They're going to...
They're afraid.
Well, absolutely they're afraid. They're afraid of retribution. And that's not the way you do it. Hopefully, my style is you assign policemen to a neighborhood who gets to know everybody.
So the body camera will not be necessary.
Right. And so what you do is you get with the person later with no body camera, and they're able to give you the information confidentially so that they're not exposed, and then, because there's some violence that can be made against witnesses, and we have to avoid that at all costs.
Okay, listening to you as it relates to privacy, ensuite there was some suggestions about some privacy concern from the Bureau of Justice. I don't have the whole document as it relates to training and all important information about the body cameras now at the Palm Beach County. Are you going to look at it if elected and see if you have all these elements that you just talked about as it relates to privacy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's most important, that you protect the rights and the privacy of everyone, not just the police, but the community that you serve. You want that cameras on at the initial interactions, but if you see that it's an interaction that is going to what should be very confidential, then that needs to be either the camera shut off or it be redacted immediately afterwards so that it's not out there for the public to view. Because one of the big problems now, anything that's done in the public is open for public record.
That's right.
And we have a redaction team now. That's one of the big expenses to the cameras is redacting all that personal information that is gathered by those cameras, so that if somebody wants public record, personal information, social security numbers, driver's license numbers, all of those things need to be redacted. It's very sensitive. Crimes against children, all needs to be redacted and not put out for public purview. So we need to protect people. We need to protect children. Sometimes in situations like that, we need to ask, is it okay to film? And some states are asking that. You have to get permission to turn that body camera on and record. Now, if it's a system where you're walking into violence, or there's violence being directed at you as the policeman, that body camera needs to be on. I think the body camera reduces the amount of violence because people know they're being recorded, and people that would have a tendency to resist arrest or do something
foolish,
very foolish, yes,
so it's a deterrent.
Yeah, that's a deterrent.
Yes.
And it's a deterrent for our police
Sure.
to conduct themselves correctly too. I can't tell you how many times I would get a phone call from people in the community, because I've been around so long, so many people.
That's right.
And I would get that phone call and the people would say, oh, so-and-so officer was out to see me, and he was very rude and didn't want to be bothered with my information. And then I said, well, I'll just call Chief Cauger. And they said, oh, you know Chief Cauger? Well. And they say their whole attitude changes. But that's not what we want from our officers. And when we hear that kind of thing, I usually call the guy and come into my office and say, hey, what are you doing?
Come on.
You know, I had an incident where a woman called me with a problem. And she said, well, I'll just have to call Chief Cauger. And the deputy said to her, Chief Cauger, I'm so tired of hearing his name out here. He knows every crackhead and hooker in town.
That's a sign of leadership.
So I couldn't wait. I called his boss and had her report to my office on Monday morning. Let him think about it over the weekend. So when he came into my office, he walked in and I said, oh, deputy, nice to see you. He said, I said, have we met before? And he said, well, you know, you backed me up on a couple calls. I was so surprised the chief would do that. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, come on in and sit down. I said, I want you to get to know the guy who knows every crackhead and hooker in town. And
so how did you know that?
Well, he knew right away.
How did you know I said that?
He like turned white. Mm-hmm. And I said, deputy, and I'm not going to mention his name. I said, you know what? I haven't been on the street for 10 years or 15 years. They shouldn't know my name. They should be mentioning your name.
Yeah.
And you need to make it a point to get to know those people who are out there in the community, both the good people and the bad people. You know what? The people that are causing problems, the people that are struggling. Get to know them, help them. Mm-hmm. You know, don't just nail them and jail them, hook them and book them. Get them the help that they need. And we, you know, that was my career was designed. I'll put you in jail, but then I'll get you help. You know, try to change that behavior.
Well, Mr. Micheal, having been second in command for 16 years,
yes,
and based on your extensive community involvement experience, and the word around is Mr. Micheal is trying to unseat his old boss and friend. Can you give the Haitian community 3 reasons why they should vote for you?
Sure. Well, the first reason is look at my history. Look at how I've conducted myself over the years. Look at the programs that I've developed in all communities, especially the communities that were most needed. Look at the programs like the 4 boxing programs. The boxing programs that we started by hanging a boxing bag off a tree limb in one of those needy neighborhoods. And we advanced that to a warehouse, and then we got another program, and another program, and another program. Look at the after-school programs, the neighborhoods that we put community policing in, that I led. It started with Sheriff Willie, the sheriff a couple of terms ago, who, by the way, has endorsed me because of our history of working together, and he knows what I've accomplished. The tutoring, all the things that I have done to build community are pretty much gone. I've worked with the mentally ill for years. I went back to school in my 40s and worked towards my master's degree in social work because I believed in helping people. Our jail is full of about 1,900 inmates. About 85% of them are there for crimes committed while under the influence of alcohol and or drugs.
Okay.
It was all, you know what? Don't make it a revolving door, because if you don't give them the help that they need. We had a wonderful program called the Drug Farm. It was shut down by Sheriff Bradshaw. We argued over that a little bit. Afterwards, I said, I have to have a recovery program in my jail. Mm-hmm. He said, well, you can do it if it doesn't cost me any money. So I went for the for-profit community recovery programs, mm-hmm. who I had developed relationships with over the years, like You know, I've done that all over the county.
That's right.
They provided me with 2 counselors. I started with a men's program, and then I got a male counselor, and then I got a female counselor, and we opened up the 2 programs called Another Way, because obviously
That's
your
right.
old way is not working. So,
Mr. Micheal, you are on 4 Diaspora TV. Now you are a star in the Haitian community, all over the world. It doesn't matter what now they are listening to you, they know some of them. And from New York to New Jersey to Miami to Port St. Lucie, Connecticut, we're everywhere, okay? Now, I'm giving you the last 3 minutes to talk to them directly and say those who are in West Palm Beach, for them to vote for you, and then those who are far away to call their friend, their cousin, who are here in West Palm Beach and say, hey, I want you to get out to vote and vote for Mr. Micheal.
well, how I can address that is listen to what I've said during this entire meeting this evening. You know, if you look at my history, you know, and I always like to look at somebody's history. What have they accomplished? Now, talk is easy, but what have they accomplished? What have they done? If you look at my history and you'll see what I've done, and I've gone into the community and I've served the community, all communities, equally. In fact, even the needy communities, even more than those communities that didn't need it.
Okay.
So, you know, I want to bring that back. I want to bring that back. I want to bring a sense of caring back to the agency. Not just little snippets here and there that I can put on social media and make it look like I'm doing more. I want to bring back, improve the drug programs that we had. We had an Eagle Academy for youth from 11 until 15 years of age. That turned those kids' lives around. Turned those lives around. 2 of the young men that were getting in trouble, that went through that program, I can't tell you how many of them joined the military afterwards, because they learned to love that environment. It was kind of a boot camp.
You talk about getting your information to see what you have done, your history, not only to show that extensive community involvement experience. Can you give them your website and then phone number to call if they want further information?
Sure.
More information.
It's Cauger4sheriff.com, and that's Cauger, F-O-R, not the number.
Okay.
Cauger4, F-O-R, sheriff.com. That's the website. There's a phone number on there. The best number to call is 561-685-7160.
7150?
60.
7160.
7160.
7160.
And that's a direct line to me, and I'll be glad to answer questions. I'm not real good at Creole, though, so
we'll take care of that.
Okay.
Mr. Micheal, thank you very much.
This is such an honor.
Thank you. Really, we appreciate that you come to our humble studio.
Oh,
and the thing that we can assure you, the Haitian community already knows you, they hear you, and we'll be waiting to see what when the election comes in, for them to just get out and vote.
Well, it's really given me an honor was I have multiple Haitian officers, deputies, that have called me and are supporting me. And I'm honored by that.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have been following us in this interview with Mr. Micheal Cauger, if I say it right, and we'll appreciate you call him for more information, and also, more importantly, go to the website, and you'll be amazed of what he has accomplished during the 50 years that he has been in the law enforcement. Thank you very much. À la prochaine.
Bientôt, nous invitons pour réveiller avec 4 Diaspora TV, quand vous pouvez voir 4 Diaspora Today, avec une équipe bien montée qui là qui pour servir nous. On a connaît tout ça qui a passé au niveau local, national et international. Songez ces 4 Diaspora TV, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, and the Treasure Coast.